Hello beautiful people, my name is Vendi. I know this is a little late, but this is my June TBR. So as you may or may not know, I was recently away from my home here in Boston, and unfortunately, because of circumstances out of my control, I wasn't actually able to film anything while I was over there. I know this is pretty bad timing considering there are now 400 subscribers on this channel. I want to consistently create good content as a thank you to every single one of you who tunes in every time I post a video. Thank you so much, it means a great deal to me, and I'm genuinely sorry that I haven't been posting on my schedule that I've set fairly recently. So in an attempt to keep to that schedule, I'm going to be telling you what I'm going to be reading throughout the month of June. Since we're already a little ways into June, hopefully it won't be too confusing to you to realize that I've already read some things. And in addition to that, I am currently enrolled in a summer class where the reading load is not enormous, but hefty enough that I feel like including it in this TBR makes sense. So I'm going to section this off into first the books that I've already finished, and the books that I'm going to be reading for class, and finally the books that I want to close the month off with and just read for fun. So without further ado, let's get that started. The first book that I read in the month of June was Passenger by Alexandra Bracken. It is a time travel contemporary urban fantasy. It follows Etta, a girl who doesn't know that she is one of these time travelers until she is sort of swept away into the past completely by accident, or so it seems to her, in order to be taken on this intertemporal scavenger hunt for an item that the patriarch of one of these time traveling families sets her on. At first, Etta does not want to participate, she just wants to go home, but then this patriarch reveals to her that he has taken her mother hostage and harm will come to her if Etta doesn't get him the thing that he wants. The second book I read in the month of June is The Exact Opposite Okay by Laura Steven. It follows aspiring comedian and high schooler Izzy O'Neill as she's sort of wrapped into this sex scandal because some of her less age-appropriate, not safe for work images are leaked and put on a website. The boys that she is in these pictures with receive absolutely no social flack, but she gets a lot of it, and she kind of comes to terms with the fact that the way that society treats women who are open about their sexuality is the exact opposite of okay. I can't recommend this enough. I'll talk at length about it during my June wrap-up because it really moved me and it was a story that hit very close to home. So that is the second book that I've read this month and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And the third book that I already read this month is actually the first of the books that I had to read for school, and it is Invasion of the Body Snatchers by Jack Finney, or Finney. The Invasion of the Body Snatchers is a 1950s novel about pod people who come down to Earth and begin to slowly replace everyone's loved ones. It follows a recently divorced doctor named Miles and his childhood sweetheart Becky as they discover the truth about the pod people and find a way to keep themselves and their close friends safe. I have some feelings about the Invasion of the Body Snatchers that I'll get to in my wrap-up. Let it suffice to say that I preferred the 1978 movie immensely to the book. After that, for my summer class, I'm going to have to read Ripley's Game by Patricia Highsmith. I think it's one of the sequels to the talented Mr. Ripley. I normally don't like to read series out of order, but I've heard that this one doesn't really matter how you read them as long as you read them all. And depending on whether I enjoy Ripley's Game, I might pick up the rest. I don't know much about it, so I'm hoping that there's some morally gray characters and a dark, twisty plot because that's my absolute favorite thing. After that, I'm going to be reading the graphic novel Cold Comfort Farm by Stella Gibson. It was written in the 30s and it's apparently a parody and it's a graphic novel. I'm all about women writing parodies and hopefully it's funny. I don't know what it's about, just like Ripley's Game. I don't know what any of these books are about, so I'm just gonna kind of go into them blind. There'll be a lot for me to talk about in my June wrap-up because of it. The last book that I'm going to be reading for my Novel into Film class is David Goodis's Shoot the Piano Player. I don't know anything about this one, much like the others, except for that it's a noir novel, and I'm not really in the mood for that, but hopefully I will be by the time that I have to read this book. And finally, I plan to read at least 3 additional novels throughout the month of June, just for my own pleasure. The one that I'm currently working on right now is The Savior's Champion. The Savior's Champion is Jenna Moressi's sophomore novel. It is the first in a dark fantasy series following Tobias. Tobias is an artist turned laborer in the land of Thesson, which is a land that is made fruitful and bountiful by this fantastical and yet very much corporeal figure called the Savior. She's basically the ruling figure of this world and is essentially a goddess because she keeps the land alive. The way royal succession works in this world is that the savior marries a man who wins the sovereign's tournament, and she gives birth to another daughter who becomes the future savior and her heir. So Tobias isn't doing very well financially, neither is his family, so he joins the sovereign's tournament just because it'll give his mother and sister some gold, and he is forced, along with 20 other men, to compete in a battle of strength and wit and cunning to stay alive, because the other 19 are going to die and the one left standing is going to marry the savior. If you want to find out more, I highly suggest checking out Jenna Moressi's YouTube channel. She is an author tuber, and she's incredibly funny and witty and intelligent when talking about the writing craft and about her books in general. So if you want to know more, maybe go to the source to find out. After TSC, I'm going to be reading and reviewing Heartthrobs by Carol Diehouse. As you might have seen in my spring book review a couple videos back, I received Heartthrobs directly from the publisher as part of a Goodreads giveaway, and I'm very excited to dive into it. It is a nonfiction book that sort of chronicles the history of Western women's sexual ideals in men. Basically, it's following women's sexual ideals for the past century and a half-ish. Obviously, these are Western women, and obviously these are heterosexual ideals, so the ideals that women have for men. Perhaps not the best thing to read during Pride Month, considering there are so many explorations of heterosexuality out there, but I do like the idea of finally turning it on its head and giving women agency, because usually examinations of heterosexuality follow the male gaze. So I'm really excited to tell you guys what I think about this. I think I'm going to enjoy all the books that I read this month. And the final book that I plan to read in the month of June is Clan of the Cave Bear by Jean M. Auel. I plan to read this with my friend Celise over at the Book Armada. She is an incredible channel, and you should definitely check her out. She's so insightful, and her videos are just visually stunning. So if you haven't seen her already, I definitely recommend you do. And basically, Clan of the Cave Bear follows Ayla, a young human girl who is separated from her family in an ice storm because it takes place during an ice age, and she gets taken in by a clan of Neanderthals, the clan of the Cave Bear. Ayla is both physically and cognitively rather different from this group of people, and she has to figure out how to navigate their social structure and hierarchies. There's some people in this clan that are rooting for her and some that are definitely not, so she has to figure out how to survive as best as she can and hopefully thrive in this occasionally hostile environment. And there you have it, guys. That is my June TBR. I apologize that I'm looking super rough, but I really wanted to get this video filmed and out there. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you like my channel, maybe consider subscribing. If you're already subscribed and you're not getting my videos in your subscription box feed because YouTube's being a butthead, I really encourage you to ring that bell so that you stay notified whenever I post a video, because apparently I'm a trash fire who can't keep up with schedules to save her life. So that's all from me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.